This is the Otofix D1 Lite, and I'm going to do a little review on it. Now, I've been using this for actually a couple months now. I like it quite a bit. Now, you can see how thin it is. It's easy to carry around. The battery life has been good, but what I want to do is we've got my 24 Silverado that we're inside right now, and I'm going to go ahead and hook this up. Now, what it is just a Bluetooth hookup. Super easy, plug it in, and then we'll go ahead and go through the screens. And what I really like is the data that it shows and the way that it can reset certain functions. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. Let's go ahead and hook up the OBD2 interface right here. So we're going to plug this in. So if you can't see, you got a little light down here. So that's kind of helpful. There we go, we're hooked up. All right, so I already loaded up the vehicle. It's connected to my 2024 Silverado ZR2 1500 with the 3.0 Duramax. It does have the LZ0. And now what we can do is go into diagnosis. Auto scan will go into all the control modules, but we want to go with just one specific one. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of different options in here, different modules. Now, your vehicle may not be equipped with one of these modules, and if you click on it, it's just going to tell you that it's not equipped or no communication. But what we want to do is go into engine control module, because this will allow us to see some live data. You can also do the special functions. That's going to be really neat, because I'm going to go in there and show you how you can reset the coolant control valve. And if you're not familiar with these trucks, the coolant control valve seems to be a very, very common issue. So let's just go into engine mechanical, so that way we can go and find the engine oil pressure. And once we do that, we can go ahead and graph it a little bit, which I think is real neat. So if you're trying to battle an engine oil pressure issue and you want to be able to monitor the data, you can see that it's right there, but obviously you can't just sit there and watch that. So if you click on the down arrow, you can actually turn it into a gauge like that. And I just gave it a rev right there, and you can see the oil pressure change. Now, if you don't like that setup, you can go with this bar graph, which is actually my preferred method right there. I enjoy looking at this over that other style with the regular gauge. Now, if you want to monitor a couple, you can select a couple different ones and you can compare the data to it. You can also click the record button and go for a drive, and then you can go back and review the data. It's a super neat little function on there, but there's a ton of information on there, and there's a lot that we can go through on all of this. Now, what we can do is also go into, we're going to go into special functions. Now you can see engine coolant flow control valve learn. I'm not going to learn mine, but I'm just going to show you that this is one that you can do. And I actually did use this scan tool on a SUV, I believe it was a Tahoe, when I did the coolant control valve, and I actually did do the coolant control valve position relearn with that. So this comes in real handy with stuff like that. If you're replacing parts on your own or diagnosing, preferably diagnose before you replace parts, right? But you can go in there and do the relearn after you've replaced the parts. Now you can see coolant control valve position. I'm not going to click learn because I do not want to mess with this, because we know these LZ0s with the coolant control valves, those can take a couple months. Now, everything in here you can reset, obviously. So the crankshaft position variation learn, if you replace the engine, it's good to do the relearn. Fuel injection small quantity data reset, that's a very important one, as is the injector flow rate programming. Now, I can't do the flow rate programming on this truck right now because obviously, one, it's running, and two, I did not replace a fuel injector. So if you needed to replace a fuel injector, you will need to go into this screen and punch in the code that's on top of the injector. And once you do that, you'll save it. Then you go in there, and what you want to do is do a small quantity data reset. And what this will do is reset all of your fuel injector data, so that way everything can be reading correctly and working well together. I'm not going to reset mine because everything is working good on this truck, so I don't want to mess with anything. Timing belt life reset. Now, GM refers to the oil pump belt as the timing belt on these, so don't get fooled. That's actually not a Otofix error. It's actually something that GM has it set up. So you'll see that it'll pop up on your dash if it is the time. Now, on the LZ0s, well, 23 and up vehicles, those all got 200,000 mile intervals while 22.5 and older are 150,000 mile interval. And as you can see, I'm at 87.8%, and I can reset that and it'll bump it up to 100. So just a bunch of very handy features within this scan tool itself. Let's go ahead and go back. All right, let's go ahead and go into active test and see charge air cooler coolant pump. I like that one because when I did the charge air cooler on this truck, I was actually able to use this. I was ramping up the pump so that way I can get all the air purged from the system, and you can do increase and decrease. We're not going to do that right now, but that is a feature that I like, especially with the charge air coolant pump. All right, so a big question that I get a lot is particulate filter regeneration. Now you can do a enable right there, and that's basically if you hit that, the next time you go drive the vehicle, it's going to go into regen right off the bat. If you hit the other one, you're going to be doing a regen standing still, and you definitely don't want to do that inside the garage, which is where I'm at right now, but that will do both options right there. I prefer the one that you're driving, so do what you want to do, but only do stuff on here if you have a reason to do so. Now we can also go into the reductant system, and again, there's a whole lot of options in there. If you're worried that your pump is not working, you can disconnect one of the lines to the injector, the reductant injector, DEF injector, and hit the pump, and you can actually see if everything is working correctly. Again, we're not going to do any of that. If you're having some issues with your turbocharger and you want to do some tests, you can go on here and watch from outside if the actuator is moving. You could do that by increasing and decreasing. And I just revved it so you can see the position sensor moved. But we're not going to mess with any of that because, again, my truck is working good and I don't want to mess with that. Let's go ahead and go back into special functions because I want to see, can we relearn the turbocharger? Did you see it on there? If you have right there, initial position learn. Perfect. So you can go in there. If you replace your turbocharger and it comes with a new actuator, you will need to learn it, and this will allow you to do that by hitting the learn button. Again, we're not touching that because we are functioning very well. So as you can see, the Otofix scan tool right here can do a lot. It cannot program anything as far as I've used it for. I know it's a big question people often ask anytime I have a scan tool. Can it program this? Can it program that? And unfortunately, scan tools like this, you need a very high-end scan tool in order to get those functions. So typically for the garage guy or gal that's doing the work, these are perfect for diagnosing and replacing parts. You can do your relearn after you replace the parts, after you diagnose it, of course. Always diagnose first, then replace the part, and then do the relearn as you need. Let me know what you think about this Otofix D1 Lite. These are new. They just came out recently. Like I said, I've had this for about 2 months, and I've been using it at work. I am a GM tech, and obviously I have different options to use. And I like this one for a lot of quick, just go in there and do what you need to do and then get out. So this comes in very handy. As you can see, we're at 96%, and I've been using this quite a bit to film this, and the battery life is tremendous. You can make the screen a little bit brighter, but I've got it set just like this so that way it works with my camera. But I'm pretty happy with this because it is very responsive. I like how slim it is. It's easy to carry. I throw it in my backpack. It doesn't take a bunch of space, and it's obviously a Bluetooth dongle to communicate with the OBD2 port. So super easy to use. And as you can see, it pulled up all of the information on my vehicle. Constantly updates available, so I'm able to update as often as I want, and that is right here through the update screen. And I've updated this several times. We're not connected to the internet, so that doesn't do us any good. But as you can see, that screen right there was a battery test on there. I haven't used that yet, but there's tons of options available on this. I just like it for the quick and easy. If I want to go read some data, if I've got an issue with something and I want to just go to the live data, like I said, I'll just go in there, and then I like to have that bar graph style pop up on there. And that's pretty much what I use it for. If I go for a road test and I need to see the data super quick and easy, just by glancing, it's very responsive. This is a good scan tool to help you diagnose any issues that you have with your vehicle. As long as you know what you're doing, you can look at the data and diagnose it properly. The relearns are amazing. There's tons of modules that you're able to get into. You just really can't beat this for the price. Let me know what you think about this, and till next time, see ya.